Hey YouTube, welcome back to Cassandra's Kitchen where I eat to live and not live to eat. Today we're making holiday dish number 8. We're going to be doing some beefy, cheesy enchiladas. So if you're interested in seeing how I create this enchilada dish, stay tuned and I'll show you. Alright guys, so here's what we need to make our beefy cheesy enchiladas. So we got through Thanksgiving and now we're going into Christmas. And I know like for me and my family, we usually change up. We don't usually be traditional for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So usually around Christmas time, we'll do something like a themed type of dinner. So hopefully you guys will appreciate the enchilada dish. And if not, then there'll be other dishes coming on as well. But so for the beefy cheesy enchiladas, veganized, we need for our meat, I'm using the walnuts. So I've had 3.5 cups of walnuts soaking overnight. You don't have to let them soak that long. I was just going to prepare this yesterday and decided not to, and so I ended up making it today. I have also for my meat, I'm going to be using my portobello mushrooms. And so that's for my meat. And then I have also, I always put my enchiladas on a bed of beans and rice. So I'm trying, for the first time, I'm using this Spanish rice. Because usually I make chicken enchiladas. So, but I'm doing a beef enchilada. So I figured Spanish rice would be great. You don't have to use the box rice. You can make your own rice. That'll be fine as well. But I'm trying to make simple, easy, quick meals. So this is a whole grain Spanish rice, Lundberg. It's organic. I had got this from Natural Grocers. It's vegan. It's non-GMO. So I have 2 boxes of the rice because I'm going to layer my pan. And I have this cooking in my rice cooker. So you want to get your rice prepared. Then also I have the Hatch mild organic red sauce. I probably got way too much red sauce, but I have the red sauce. I'm going to be using some black olives. I have the simple organic enchilada mix. You don't need this. Of course, you can use your own spices and things like that, but I'm using the enchilada mix. I also love the blocked Diya cheese, so I'm going to be using, I didn't make my nut cheese because I'm already having the nut meat. So normally I would make the cashew nut cheese and use it as well. But because I'm using nuts for the meat, I didn't want just the cashew nut cheese. So we're doing the Diya block cheese, and I'm going to melt this down and make it a creamy cheese sauce and pour it over that. Also, what I needed was some sour cream. So I have the Forager brand, also the Kitehill. So got a couple of these. This is almost gone, so I had to pick this one up. This is a little more expensive, but they both taste really, really well. We have sour cream. We have some green onions, some fresh jalapenos, and we have some beans. And I'm going to use the pinto beans. These are by Simple Truth Organics. Now, I usually like black beans in my enchiladas, but I am out of black beans, so we will substitute and use pinto beans, which they're going to be just fine. And then last but not least, I have the white corn tortilla shells. This is what we're going to use as well. So to get started here, what I'm going to first off do is we got to get our veggies chopped up. So we're going to dice our onion up. So our whole onion is going to be sauteed in with our meat. Our green onion is going to be kind of as a garnish, as well as used to kind of roll inside of the tortilla shells. So what I want to start off doing, I have my rice cooking. So you want to get your rice prepared because that's going to go on the bottom of your dish. You're going to need a baking dish or pan here that we're going to use. So we'll layer the bottom with our beans and rice. Then we'll roll our enchiladas, but we will need a nice sized dish. Nothing too shallow because we're going to have to put the sauce on there. We're going to have to put the cheese on there, so we don't want it overflowing. So you want a nice deep dish for that. And so I'm going to go ahead and get our meat started, and then I'll prep my veggies. So I'm going to go ahead and break down my walnuts first because I have so much. because I'm making a large dish, so I wanted to make sure that I had enough meat. So I did 3.5 cups of walnuts. And this is a lot, but like I said, I'm making a big dish of enchiladas. So usually I would grind my walnuts and my mushrooms together, but because I have so much, I'm gonna go ahead and break down my walnuts, get that into a nice crumbly texture. We basically wanna do it like it's sort of like a potted meat. I tell you all the time, it looks really weird, but that's the consistency we want, because then once we get it cooking, it's going to thicken up like ground beef. So you'll see as I go through this. But I'm gonna go ahead and get this broke down, get this onto the skillet, and then I'm gonna do my mushrooms after that, so that'll give the opportunity, because my mixer is not that big. But let's go ahead and get this mixed and we'll go from there. All right, so we've got our walnuts mixed up really well. I usually say it looks like potted meat because I usually mix my mushrooms and my walnuts together. But in this case, I'm doing them separately, so not technically gonna look like potted meat alone. But you can see my nuts are really fine and mushed down. So that's how we want it. So since I'm doing so many, I'm just gonna get these out and put it in a bowl just so I can get my mushrooms in here. So I want to mix it in the skillet all together. So that over here. But I just wanted you guys to kind of see the texture. Y'all can see this, just kind of what your meat, your walnuts should look like. See that? It's kind of like a fine, real fine. So there's really, it's not gritty. I mean, it's gritty because it's nuts, but it's, you know, it's really mushed down really good. That's the whole thing. You want to get it broken up as much as you can, because you don't really want it to be nutty. You want it to be more meaty. And I've done it both ways, and so I really like it when you really cook the nuts down. They turn more into a nice ground beef substitute to me. So that was 3.5 cups. And this is going to make a lot of meat, but like I said, I really wanted to get a lot of meat because I am making a big dish. So I have about the same as mushrooms, about 3 cups of mushrooms here. And so these, I wanted you guys to see them. These were some big portobellos. So look at that one. That's about how big all of them were. This one was humongous. So, but yeah, so we got the portobellos going in here. Just gonna get those mixed down. And once we get this mixed down, we'll go ahead and get our onions and all this in the skillet and let it cook down. So get these mixed up too. All right, so we got our mushrooms cooked, mixed down. So this is what makes it actually look like potted meat. So, because the mushrooms got really mushy here, that's fine. So we're gonna mix these together. And like I said, normally you blend these together. You don't have to do this separate, but because my food processor could not hold this amount, so normally I do like a cup, 2 cups of the walnuts and then 2 cups of the mushrooms, and it usually works just fine for that. But because I had 3 and 3, it was a little bit too much. So, I'm just going to mix this all together here. And then we're going to come over here to the stove, and we're going to get this all cooked down. And I'll show you the next steps. All right, so now I have a little grapeseed oil in my skillet. I have 1 medium-sized onion that I diced down. So we're going to get this cooking here. Okay. And then, where's my, so just get these down in here. And then now you guys can see up close. Now it starts to look like potted meat, right? When you mix those two together. That's the look you want. I know it's kind of crazy, but I try to give you a visual because I know sometimes it's not that clear to where you can see it. So that's the potted meat look I was talking about. So we're going to get this also in here on our onions. Okay. This is gonna be so good. I love the walnut meat. I love making the tacos out of it. It's just so amazing. So let's see. All right. So we got that in there. So like I said, I got the enchilada seasoning that I'm gonna be using for this. But y'all know me. Y'all been in my kitchen long enough to know I love that smoked paprika. So I'm gonna put a little extra smoked paprika in mine, just to give it that nice smoky taste. And that was probably about 2 tablespoons. And then about a tablespoon of my garlic. Let's get that in here. Looks like a lot, but it's coming out of the small end, so that's probably about a tablespoon if I was to guess. And so we're just going to get this all cooked down together. So we're going to let this cook and brown. All we want to do is get the onions caramelized a little bit and let them our walnut meat brown. And when it starts to look like ground beef, we know that we're there. And then we'll get our other sauce in here, our other seasoning, I'm sorry, in here. But that's all we do there. So now I'm going to take you over here and let you guys see what the rice looks like, because I put the rice in the rice cooker. And basically, I just followed the instructions on the rice. And just simple and easy. Like I said, I love my rice cooker. If you got a rice cooker, if you don't, I would encourage you to get one, because you can't go wrong. You can't mess up the rice in a rice cooker. So, but I'll come over to the rice and let you guys see what that looks like, because we're going to get that layered down into our pan, ready for our enchiladas. But we're going to let this cook and brown down. Okay, as you guys can see, the rice cooked. It still looks like rice. It's not mushy. And like I said, that's all because it's in the rice cooker. So we're going to get our seasonings in here. And like I said, I just follow the recipe on the box. You can use any type of rice. Like I said, you can make your own rice. You can use Zeterans. They just so high in sodium. But you can use the Zeterans, black beans and rice. That's nice. I just like making my own black beans and rice usually, but I thought Spanish rice would be nice in here. So this looks just a little bit drier than I would like. So I'm just going to put just a little dip of water in my packet just to juice it up, just a tad bit. Alright, so just got a little bit in there just to kind of stir around there. See, I didn't put that much. Just want to get those seasonings in here. And now what I want to do, because my pan is still a little warm, I'm going to get this rice out of here and I'm going to layer it here in my dish. So basically all we want to do is get this layered. Okay. You guys can still see. Got that mixed well. I'll get it down in the bottom of my pan. Because what I usually do, and you don't have to do this, but I like my rice on the bottom of my enchilada, so it's like one dish. You got your rice, you got your beans, you got your enchiladas, all in one dish. Makes for easy cleanup when you're, got one dish to clean for dinner. And it also is just nice to have it all in one dish, I think. Okay. And if you're taking it to somebody's house for the holidays, or you're just making it at home, you got one dish. Okay. So what I usually do is just make sure that my rice is just pretty much level. So everybody who takes a scoop will get the same amount of rice and beans. Normally, like I said, I cook my rice and beans together, so it's all in here. But because we are doing the rice and then the canned beans, I'm going to put the beans on top. And then I'm going to do the enchiladas on top of that, okay? So that's the first step. So we got that out of the way. We got our rice down. We got our meat cooking. So just hold on. We're going to continue to build this thing. All right, so I've let my meat cook for about 15 minutes. And you can see it's started to brown up. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is get my seasoning, my enchilada seasoning in here. And for those who couldn't have seen it, it's the enchilada sauce mix. It's by Simply Organic. And so real easy, real simple. So I'm just going to do a couple of packs of these to start off. I got 3 just in case, but I think 2 may give it this flavor I'm looking for. Then I opened up one of the cans of the Hatch organic red enchilada sauce. Just going to mix that in there with that. And we're just going to make sure it's stirred in real good, that our seasonings are really nice and mixed in here real good. And you can turn your stove down on low at this point because our meat has pretty much already browned. I say just do a little bit at a time just to make sure your seasonings and everything's mixed in there really well. Y'all know I'm kind of messy too, so that's why I'm going kind of slow. Because I be made a big mess on my stove, and so y'all know how I be doing. So, but let's see here. So far it looks good. Okay, and then once we get that in there, we're just going to let this kind of cook a little bit more. Now that we added some liquid to it. Y'all know me, I just gotta taste it. Okay. It's got flavor. The sauce tastes good. I don't think I need 3. I think the 2 would be enough. And we don't want to overdo the sauce, the meat itself. So what we're going to do, because we're going to pour the meat on top of our enchilada shells. So we're just going to kind of let this cook just a little bit more. Back to maybe a little bit of medium. Just to seal that all in there. And we'll be ready to move over. So now, while this is still cooking down a little bit, we're going to move back over to the rice because I have my beans. I want to show you guys what we're going to do with those beans. Okay, so I got my beans. I just rinsed them off. These were the pinto beans. I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is just mix them all together. I was going to layer them on top, but because I'm so used to having my beans and rice mixed, I'm just going to mix these in here with that. So that we'll have beans and rice together here. I guess it really doesn't matter, but because I wanted it mixed like this. And if you feel like you want to season your beans and your rice a little more, you can. I'm not. I think it's got enough flavor already in the rice that the beans don't need to have anything on them. And that's okay, because then I'm going to be putting the other sauce on top. So now we can kind of mash it back down a little bit. And so, here we go. All right. So that's all we're going to do there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our cheese sauce together. So we're going to melt down our Diya cheese block so we can pour over top of our enchiladas. So come on back over to the stove. All right, so what I've got down in here is about 2 tablespoons of milk. I just put a little bit of my almond plant-based milk in here just to melt enough to give the cheese an opportunity to melt. You don't want too much milk in here. Then I'm just going to cut these down into little squares, little pieces that can melt easy. Well, y'all know I told y'all I'd make a mess. So, okay, just little squares. There we go. And I got 2 blocks, but I'm only going to put 1.5 blocks in here because I may save a little bit just to garnish the top. So we're going to do that. So that's 1 block of cheese. And I'm going to cut the other one in half. And we're going to put the other half in here. Okay. And you want to watch your cheese because you don't want it to scorch. Because it will. Okay. Alrighty. So, let me get another spoon. I can mix. Okay. Just watch your cheese sauce. It's not going to take long for this to cook down. Just stirring constantly. But we're just going to let this melt down because this is what we're going to use to pour over top of our enchilada. So we're getting there, guys. We're almost done. I know it looks like a lot of steps, but it's really not. Once you have your beans and rice and your meat done, and it's just all about the layering. So I like to make things as good as possible. I could have just shredded the cheese on there, but I think this cheese would taste, I love the block cheese. I don't know about you guys, but this is one of my favorites. They really changed the recipe on the Diya block cheese, and it tastes so good. It's really close to cheese for me. So I love eating it just with crackers. So because I love that taste, but I didn't want to take a chance of it not melting down really good. So I said I'll melt it myself. That way I know it's going to have that cheesy goodness down into my enchiladas. But definitely don't want to scorch your cheese. So definitely keep an eye on that. But now I'm going to go ahead and let this melt down. I'm going to finish chopping up my veggies and we'll come right back to start building our enchiladas. Okay, so my cheese has melted down pretty much. So now I'm putting it into my food processor. And we're going to make our sauce. So we wanted to get it good and melted, which we have. And I know people like measurements, so let me just measure here. And I am going to use, I don't want to use a half cup. I'm going to use a 1/3 cup of milk. Pour that in there. We want to kind of get this a little bit more saucy where we can pour it onto our enchiladas. And so that was a 1/3 cup of milk, so I probably could have went a half, but I'm gonna add another 1/3. So that's actually 2/3 cup. Let's see. Mike could use a whole one, but I don't want to put too much in there. Okay. See it? It's getting there. We want to just be able to pour that on top of our enchiladas. I think I'm going to do 1 more cup, so basically it'll be a cup of milk. This is the next 1/3. I wasn't too sure how much it was gonna take to get to that consistency that I want. So that's 1 full cup of milk. Yes, there we go. So that's our cheese sauce, guys. So that's ready. Okay, so next thing, what I've done, we'll bring you guys back over to the middle here. So one moment. All right, so we're about ready to build our enchiladas. So what I've done, I actually put my beans in a larger pan because I wanted to put more enchiladas in here because I got a lot of meat. So I end up just transferring them over. What I'm going to do is put some of my red sauce right on top of the beans and rice, okay? Because you want to make sure they get a little, still it's going to, once we layer it, it's still going to go down here, but I'm intentional about putting extra sauce down on my rice and my beans. Just as they cook, they're not going to dry out. And it's still going to have more sauce coming on top of these. So don't worry, because when we get to pouring it on top of everything, all that sauce and everything is going to get down in here. But I just like to, I got so much of the sauce anyway, so why not put it to use? About 3 cans, so hey, we might as well go ahead and use it up for this dish. So I just sauced up my beans and rice just a little bit more here, make them good and saucy. They've been sitting too, so they're kind of get them loosened up and moisturized real good here. If that's the right term for food, but who knows? I don't know. All right, so that's that. And then what I've also done, I've actually warmed up some of my corn tortilla shells in the microwave just so they're flexible where I can roll them and without them tearing. So I'm gonna get my cream cheese or my sour cream opened up here. Again, I got 2 different brands only because they did not have the Forager brand. So I had to get the Kitehill, which I like Kitehill, I like Forager, I like them both. So that's that. Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. This is the step to building our enchilada. So you wanna take our tortilla shell. For me, I like to rub sour cream on my shell. You don't have to, you can just put it on top. I like to put the sour cream on top. Then I like to put the meat. And because this is going to be really hearty, you know, don't be afraid to put the meat in there. I like to put a little bit of the olives in here, a little bit of the green onion in here, and the avocado, the jalapenos is going to be for the top. And so all we're going to do is just give this a nice little roll, and we're going to layer it in our pan, okay? But every one of these will have substance. We'll have the cream cheese, we will have the meat, we'll have the black olives, and we'll have the green onions. So even though we're going to use the remainder to you know, garnish the top, but I want to make sure that every bite that you get has these ingredients in it. So that's why I like to put it inside. They don't have to be perfect when you roll them, because we're just layering them on there. So they don't have to be rolled perfectly. We just want to make sure that everything gets down in here. So what you do, just complete this process and get them as close together in the pan as you can, depending on how much of the meat sauce you have, because I have quite a bit. So this is going to make quite a bit of enchiladas. And so I want to get this whole thing filled up. Once we get this all together, we would then pour our cheese sauce on top of that, along with some more red sauce, and then we'll garnish it with a little bit of the shredded cheese and the remaining of the topping. So I'll get these rolled up. I'll come right back once they're done, and then we'll get them in the oven, okay? Bam, I'm back. Okay, so we got 20 enchiladas out of that mixture that I had. So if you're looking to make a big dish, you can do the same quantity of nuts and meat, or walnuts and mushrooms, to get that enough for meat. And they're really packed really nicely. So now that we have those layered on top, we're just going to do a little bit more of our red sauce on each and every one of those. And this hatch sauce is actually really good, to be honest with y'all. Okay. Some people like really runny, juicy enchiladas. Some people don't. It's up to you. So however you want it. You want less, more, what have you, whatever you want to do in your kitchen. So my cheese sauce is ready. Y'all know what I'm looking for, right? Go ahead and say it. She's looking for that spatula because she hates wasting anything. Y'all got me. Y'all know me. I'm looking for my spatula. Because I do. This stuff is expensive. Shoot. Being vegan you got to be intentional about this thing. Especially if you go out and buy certain stuff that, you know, yeah, you can make it. But like some of the stuff I like is a little bit more pricey. So I try to make sure I get every little penny that I put into it out of it. So yes, so I'm using my spatula. So y'all just have a little patience with me. Have a little patience with me. When I'm in the kitchen, I love to sing. My grandbaby always looks at me like, Mima, because I love singing silly songs. I don't know, it just makes me happy. I don't even know why I'm telling y'all that, but I just feel the need to. Because if y'all can see behind the scenes here, it's always a bunch of silly songs going on. So, all right, so we're just gonna do our cheese sauce. And we can kind of fix the cheese sauce with our spatula. We want to get it poured on there really nicely. Because these are beefy cheesy enchiladas. That's what the name of it is. beefy cheesy, right? So if they're gonna be called beefy cheesy, you can't be skimpy on the cheese. But I better not say beefy because people be calling me out on my channel talking about, well, that means you're eating a cow then, right? I'm like, no, it's just the name of it. It's just meaning I have a substitute. So I'm just gonna kind of make sure that's kind of down in here in between. Uh-oh. Just kind of scoot those over a little bit just to get that down in there. That one right there was already a little bit flimsy because I didn't heat that shell up that well and it kind of broke, so. But anyway, it's all gonna be the same as it goes down, right? I can break it up. Okay. All right. Just gonna get these good. That cheese sauce down in there. Yes. Yes, yes. Okay, we got a little bit more of this. I'm gonna pour just a little bit more. We're gonna let these bake for about 45 minutes in the oven. Just to get everything good and saturated. Oh yeah, baby. Beefy, cheesy enchiladas. So now y'all know what I'm looking for next, right? Because y'all know I done made a mess over here. So a little bit done ran out the side of that one side. So, okay. We don't want that in my oven. Okay, cool beans. Now, what we're gonna do next, we're gonna take all of our toppings that we had left over. You guys, I'm not even gonna use this block cheese because I got enough cheese on top. I was gonna just shred some, but I'm not gonna do that. But what I am gonna do, so I did slice some jalapenos, real thin, cut them in half, fresh jalapenos. We're gonna top this with some fresh jalapenos. You can use the ones that are already in a jar if you choose to. It's up to you, or you don't have to use them at all. But I do want a little bit of heat, because if you can't stand the heat, you gotta get out the kitchen, right? Okay, put a little heat on here. And then we have our leftover black olives. We're gonna top with that. We just want it to be pretty, right? Food is an art. And everybody's different. Everybody's taste buds are different. You just make it to how you like it and just have fun with your food. Veganism doesn't have to be boring, okay? And then we got a little bit more green onions. We're just gonna make sure we just get all that spread it on here. Oh, yes. Yes, 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 yes. And all I got to say is yes. Y'all know what else looks good that would be great on here that I'm going to do? I'm going to do it. I just thought about it, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to chop up some tomatoes. We're going to chop up some tomatoes. So I'll be right back. I'm going to do a little bit of tomatoes on top of here, and I'm going to get this in the oven. So 1 second. All right. That didn't take me long at all, did it? See? Just some few tomatoes. Put them on top of there too. Yes. Like I said, food is an art, and you do what you like. You don't like everything that I put in here, don't put it in there. Just do what you like. Okay. Alrighty then. So that's going to go in our oven on a 375 oven for about 35-40 minutes. Just to let this really cook really good. I'm going to give y'all a close up here of what this looks like. It is heavy too, guys. So hold on. Let me make sure I got a good view. Y'all see that? Now you tell me that this doesn't make a good holiday dish. Okay, this is holiday dish. Enchiladas, baby. And it's heavy, it's filling. So we're going to get this in the oven. And then we'll bring this right back out in about 35-45 minutes. But I'm putting mine on a 375 oven. I'll let you guys know. So I'll be back. All right, guys. So it's done. This cooked in my oven on 375 for 30 minutes. That's all it took. everything cooked really nicely and marinated real nice together here. So no longer for my oven, 375, 30 minutes. So it is piping hot, but I am going to take a little bit out of here so that it can cool so we can come back and do our taste test here. I'm going to try to cut where we had it actually layered. I want you guys to get a good look here. See that? See how you get your, actually I think that was, well, that's one. Well, you see how you got your beans down here and your rice. So, that's what the enchiladas look like. Give y'all a good close up here. See that? Nice and cheesy, beefy. So we're gonna let this cool off and we'll come back and let you guys see what it tastes like. Voila, we are done. Look at this, guys. It's pretty to me. Isn't this a beautiful dish? Like I showed y'all what it looked like in the pan. This is what it looks like out of the pan. It is beautiful. So this will definitely make a great holiday dish. So, but looks can be deceiving, my husband would say. So we need to do a taste test, right? So today I'm actually got my favorite two helpers in the whole entire world who helps me in Cassandra's kitchen. One is my little Smuff. Smuff, do you mind helping me in the kitchen?
Yes.
Okay, come on over, Miss Smuff. And of course you all know yours truly, Mr. Coleman.
Yes.
Can I have your assistance, please?
Yes, you may. My favorite time as always.
Well, come on over here.
See
So
what we got here.
I got the little one, the big one, and me. So we're gonna see what these cheesy enchiladas look like. Just looking at them, what do y'all think?
It looks
It
really
looks
good.
good.
It looks
It's really
good.
good.
Looks good.
It's
Okay.
really good, yeah.
So hopefully it's cooled off enough so y'all don't burn y'all tongue, so y'all can enjoy it. So I guess we're gonna let Paw dig in first because he's already got the fork in his hand. It's like Ariana. He's like back up, but that's good. So that way you will know if it's too hot. He goes at another end. He takes it from a different angle this time. And he goes in a little deep. He took another deep dive.
Tell y'all something. The texture's there. The flavor's there. I mean, it's enchiladas, y'all.
The texture's there.
The texture's there.
So
good God Almighty, y'all. It's good.
So you eating this tonight?
Yes. Good job.
Because he's not a
And
big...
normally I'm not a big walnut, type person, but this right here, you did it again.
Thank you.
You did great.
That means a lot today coming from him because when I said what I was making, he's like...
Yes.
I'm like, I'm not using Beyond Meat today.
You won't be
I'm
disappointed. It's
using
really
walnut
good, y'all.
meat.
This is very surprising to me. I mean, the flavor, the texture. I mean, it's really, really good. And healthy. Yeah.
There you go, love.
You did a great job.
For me, Molly, get your opinion. Uh-oh, sweetie.
Uh-oh.
You wasn't fast enough, sweetheart. You want the rest of it in there?
It's good stuff, y'all. It really is.
Here.
I'm about to throw down. I'm starving.
There.
Yeah.
Let me see what my little helper's opinion is.
Good.
It's
Good. Yeah.
So I get a thumbs up too?
Yeah.
All right, great. All right, guys. So here you have it, the beefy, cheesy enchiladas made with walnut and mushroom meat. Like I said, it's a beautiful dish.
Yeah.
I will say that. And food is art. And so, but you know, as always, the chef has to taste the food sometimes. So let me get down in here. I want a little bit with this jalapeno.
It's really good. Did good. Won't be disappointed, guys. Seriously. It's really good. I mean, the flavor, the rice and the beans, the olives and jalapenos, all of that. It's all good with the tomatoes and onions and stuff all on the top.
Just flavors coming from all
Flavors
in.
coming from everywhere.
And it's just not too, it's not overpowering. It's an
No,
enchilada.
it's an enchilada. It really is.
And the cheese, and melting the cheese like that, I think was key.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know sometimes the cheese doesn't melt very well, but melting that cheese down and then pouring it on top you're getting that full effect of the cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, guys. So here you have it. Our holiday dish number 8.
Number 8, y'all.
Beefy cheesy enchiladas. And you know what to do. If you like it, give me a thumbs up.
Give me a thumbs up.
And of course, share.
Share, you guys. You won't be disappointed.
Share. And if you haven't already subscribed, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you follow me here in Cassandra's Kitchen. So until next time, from my kitchen to yours, we love you. Be blessed. Bye-bye now.